All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Humans in the Loop webinar series. Some of you have joined us before, so it's really great to see familiar face again. And if this is your first time with us, we are really glad that you are with us today. Firstly, HITL webinar series are our way of giving back. Yes, we do label data and we build high quality data training data sets, but that's not all we do. We also learn a lot along the way, and we like sharing it with our community. Our work usually is behind the curtains, helping AI teams build smarter systems. But lately, we've also noticed an interesting trend, which is that teams are using AI not to just build better systems and strategies, but to grow smarter as well. So we've decided that today's webinar is about something different this time, and it's about how to build a scalable lead gen funnel using the AI. Also worth mentioning that Humans in the Loop has launched last month its Social Impact Report 2024 via an online event where many people from all around the world have joined to hear the stories from our network of the annotators and cohorts, many of whom are displaced and affected by conflict. The report has been published on our website. It's available, and I do recommend to have a look at it because it's quite an interesting read. So back to today's topic. I'm Elene. I'm the marketing manager at Humans in the Loop, and with me is Latifa, or Lati, as we all know her. She's our in-house lead gen superstar and the person behind a lot of growth systems that we have built internally. Today, she will talk us through what modern lead gen looks like when AI is used well. And also, we will have some time for your questions. So feel free to drop any question that you have. Lati, how are you doing? Over to you.
Thanks, Elena. Hi, everyone. So I'm Lati, a lead generation expert with 7 years of experience helping agencies build solid outbound strategies and infrastructure. Over the years, I've actually supported teams in generating high quality leads through cold email and social outreach. And for nearly 4 years, I've been working with Humans in the Loop, driving scalable growth through smart outreach system. And outside of work, you often find me enjoying beach time with my family. And today I'm excited to share insights on how to scale your sales pipeline using AI-powered cold outreach.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lati. All right, let's start with the big picture straight away, I would say. We shared today's webinar topics in advance and when we announced our webinar, so some of you probably have already read the agenda. And one of the main topics that we will be covering today is why the outreach is broken. And most importantly, that's a question for you, Lati. How can AI really fix it?
Thanks for the question, Elena. So let's start from the beginning. So outreach is broken because people focus more on volume first, and then personalization comes later. And most of the time, there is no proper infrastructure in place to support cold outreach. Take, for instance, cold email. If your setup isn't right, especially the technical stuff like DNS settings, your emails won't even land in people's primary inbox. And when I say infrastructure, just to dig a little deeper, I mean the emails and the tools that businesses use to reach their audience. That includes domains, mailboxes, and how those mailboxes are importantly warmed up. For instance, let's take an example. If you're doing outreach at volume, you shouldn't be using your main website domain for outreach, but instead you should create proper domains with endings like .com or .co, but you should try as possible to avoid sketchy domains like .try. And also warm up your email addresses. The best time to give your email address for warm up is at least 14 days before you can actually start sending messages. And that makes a big difference a lot when it comes to deliverability. And the other thing that people miss here is actually strategy. You have to first identify what's your offer, what's your call to action, and you also need to figure that out so that the person on the other end actually knows what to do when they get your message.
So can we say that it's not only about writing decent emails, but it's mainly about the whole system really working well together?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where actually AI comes in. AI tools can actually help you craft like strong personalized messages just by inputting what your company does, your value proposition, and also your offer. Some tools even handle research for you. So, like pulling in someone's recent activity, for instance, job change or what their company's been doing. So you can actually personalize outreach automatically. And this process before, it would actually take hours of manual work. And now there are actually AI platforms that help with infrastructure too. So let's say setting up DNS, creating domains and email addresses, and they're even cheaper if than doing it in-house. I would say in some cases, like they're 80% cheaper. So it's easier than ever to build a solid foundation. And the old model doesn't work anymore because right now, people can get 10 to 20 and 50 emails a day that sound the same. So with AI, you actually add some value to your email. And the problem in many cases isn't the outreach itself, but it's the way we're doing it. And it can be totally unfocused. And yeah, I think that's much of it I would add. In addition to that, I would say AI doesn't replace your strategy, but it just makes it sharper. It helps you research faster, personalize better, and catch signals that humans might miss, right? But again, don't let AI run wild because I've personally received emails that looked fully like AI written. So full automation is actually the fastest way to end up being flagged as spam or blacklisted.
Well, I love this perspective, Lati. So, AI won't really do all the work for us, but it can definitely make the work faster. So, let's continue talking about the next step. I guess it should be finding the right people. If you are not talking to the right audience, nothing else really matters, in my opinion. Lati, is that so? What do you think about that?
Yeah, right. So prospecting is also where most teams waste their time because they'll spend hours digging through platforms like LinkedIn or even messy data sources and still walk away without the right list. There are AI tools now that can help you find right leads faster, but those tools to work well, you've got to give them a clear ICP. ICP, meaning your ideal customer profile, and job titles alone obviously aren't enough. You need to factor in things like behavioral traits as well when identifying your ICP. And this is something that a lot of people overlook this part. And most outreach fails because, again, the poor message that does not relate to our ICP because maybe the list is wrong. And tools like Clay or even Phantom Buster can help you automate prospecting, the work in the background to source leads. But again, you can also utilize free sources like LinkedIn because LinkedIn, if used strategically, it can be powerful. But again, your ICP best. AI is only as smart as what you feed it.
Yeah, totally. AI can bring the data, but it's up to you to steer it in the right direction. So let's say you've got the right leads. What happens next? What do you make? How do you make sure your emails actually stand out? Because honestly, and I think here everybody will agree, and I think it's very common for everyone in the room that every day we receive a lot of number of emails that do not really stand out most of the time.
Mhm. So in this case, I would say personalization is everything. There are tons of tools out there that can be used for personalization. I'm gonna add other several tools like Instantly AI or Smart Lead that can actually help you with, let's say, cold email, for instance. And these tools, they use things like, snippets, syntax, or even variables. So let's say you have a lead list with unique data points like company name or even the job titles. You can add these into your email, and that makes each email different. So Google doesn't mark you as spam. Plus, it will actually boost your reply rates because the receiver would actually feel that that email or message is meant for them. Even just by personalizing the first sentence can make a big difference in getting attention and staying out of the junk folder. And we now have other AI tools that can help generate icebreakers. Tools like Buzz AI or even Lemlist can craft these opening lines based on what your lead's been up to. Back in the day, people actually had to write every one of those manually. Now, imagine you have a list of maybe 300 prospects and you have to do manual research to each of that individual just to have an icebreaker. That would take forever, but now it's faster, easier, and much more scalable.
Those tools sound really interesting. I would also I would like to check them out as well. Anyway, so thanks, Lati, for that. So let's say we've got the right people and the great messaging as well. But I think time and execution are also highly important topics, and that feels like a whole different game. And I guess it should be quite complex, at least in my opinion. How do you actually run smarter campaigns without looking too spammy?
Mm. Yeah, great question, Elena. So think of outreach like a marketing campaign, right? You don't just send one message and hope for magic, but you plan it, you test, learn, and adapt. So the first step I would add here is timing. There is no one size fits all, like perfect time, but sending emails in your prospect local time zone already gives you a big advantage. For instance, if your leads are in the US, make sure your campaigns go out in US time, but not randomly, let's say at 3 a.m. their time. And think about when people actually check their inboxes. So let's say early mornings around 10 a.m. after they've settled in at work or during lunch breaks. That's when you want to show up right at the top of the inbox, but not to be buried. To have smarter campaigns, try to also learn the activities of your campaign. Look at the open rates, look at the schedule of your campaign, and reflect on the performance. For example, you schedule your campaign on specific days, maybe Monday, and the open rate was very low, or people open and there was not much engagement. But then if you send it maybe on Tuesday at another specific time, there is more engagement. To add to what I think I've just shared, it's also been proven that sending campaigns on a Monday, a busy day for everyone just after the weekend, is not usually successful. But sending them on a day like Tuesday or Wednesday, the likelihood of you getting a response are much higher because people are more settled. But again, there are different industries and different ICPs, so try to track your campaigns that way, and also try to personalize a journey when you're scheduling your campaign. Like if you were your own client, for instance, like what would you prefer to receive when you know you're trying to solve your own pain point? Maybe I can give another example is let's say, for instance, let's talk about construction workers. If let's say you're targeting construction workers, probably the best way to reach out to them is not via email because they're always busy in the construction site. Some people would say the best way to reach out to construction workers would be through SMS. But if you're reaching out maybe to banks, probably the best way to contact them will be via email. So whenever you're actually scheduling campaigns, even the follow-ups, like just try to put yourself in the position where you're the client, or even if, let's say, you have to speak with people just to identify the pain and what they would prefer, try to do that. It's all about research to make your campaign smarter and, for you to be able to convert them. You might also realize maybe the people you're targeting are not active on either of the channels, and then you have to be creative and, start doing research using other channels. Yeah, so my advice is to always try to look at your ICP and put yourself in that position. And that's how you can how you turn outreach into engagement, and AI can make it manageable.
That's amazing insight and very practical, I would say. Thanks for sharing, Lati. So once those replies start rolling in, what's next? Because honestly, this is where I've seen a lot of chaos, at least in my field, which is marketing for the record. It's like you've done so much work to get the response that you need, but for lead generation, I guess it should be much more complex, turning those replies into a real sales pipeline. How do you make sure that the momentum doesn't go to waste?
All right. Yes. So getting replies is just the start, but turning them into real pipeline takes strategy and the right infrastructure. And obviously, if you use AI to stay consistent, drowning in manual work, like you're good to go. So let's say first, it all comes down again to understanding your ICP, as I mentioned earlier. But if you've nailed who you're speaking to and they're responding, your next move needs to be aligned with what matters to them, not just pushing a pitch. I've seen cases where, let's say, I would receive an email where I think, okay, this is maybe value, and I'm gonna try to engage with the value, but immediately they jump right to pitching, and that makes me kind of fall behind because I'm thinking this person just wants to sell. So always have a strategy that aligns with your ICP, but also offers value before you jump into pitching whenever you receive reply. And this is where AI tools really come in because they can help build a much better process, and not just for outreach, but for what happens after reply. You need to have that strategy in place too.
So, can we say that outreach is not about just sending some perfect emails and then hoping for the best and having fingers crossed? I guess it's really about having a good and structured processes in place and working well all together using the right information and tools to know what to do next. Am I right to formulate it in this way, Lati?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, AI helps you get better leads and send better messages at the right time. By turning those replies into real conversation, take clear strategy, and I would say teamwork, especially if you're collaborating with other departments.
Yeah, sounds simple, but it's the stuff that trips people up all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Before we jump to the questions as well, I would like to, of course, encourage everybody to drop any questions that you have, and we will address them shortly. But for now, I also have a question for you, Lati. What are the three most important tips or some practical advices that you could give to those who are already in the field of lead gen, are those who are just interested to try it and work in the lead gen field?
Okay, great. So the first thing I would say is crucial. You understand the key settings for deliverability, no matter what channel you're using. So when we look at cold email, we would say DNS settings and also have a proper infrastructure. And then the second one, I would say quality leads is key, right? So you have to understand your ICP and also make sure you have valid, or even I would say verified lead list for campaigns. And then the third strategy, before before launching your campaigns, have a strategy in place.
Yeah, those really sound quite practical and strategic, I would say. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lati, for sharing these insights. Honestly, I found them really interesting. And I believe that lead generation looks like, I mean, it is quite a complex field, but highly interesting to work in, especially with the rising trend of AI. I'm sure everyone listening today got a lot out of it too, and I hope that this session gives you some practical ideas as well that you can actually use in real life. I have a quick note that Lati can share with you the AI tools that you can use to make your outreach smarter. it will be great if you can connect with her on LinkedIn. Lati, I think if it will be great if you can send your LinkedIn profile in our chat, so everybody who is interested to receive the AI tool list can reach out to you. And slowly, I think we're opening up the floor for the questions as well. So please feel free to ask anything about what Lati has covered today, or any challenges that you are facing in your working processes with lead generation. I'm just gonna have a look here. Yes, thank you so much, Lati. Here is the LinkedIn profile of Lati as well for those who are interested to receive this AI tool list. We have one question actually from Svetlana, and thank you so much for that. The question is, how do you balance AI automation with keeping outreach personal and genuine?
Great question. So to keep outreach personal or using AI, you can automate the repetitive parts like sending emails and follow-ups, but craft responses that you get from your replies manually. This way, you will actually stay efficient without losing the human touch, I would say, where it matters the most.
Perfect. I also see one comment, which is, unfortunately, I may not be able to continue to participate in the webinar. I kindly request you to share the recordings. Now, this is a very good point because, of course, we will be sharing the link to the webinar. So thanks for mentioning that. And I hope that later when you're gonna have a look at the recording, you will enjoy it and find useful tips. Another question that we received from Sai, I think it is, what's the biggest mistake companies make when trying to scale lead gen with AI?
Good question. So the biggest mistake companies make when scaling lead gen with AI is relying too heavily on automations and also without proper infrastructure. A common issue is having a poor, let's say, cold email setup, like using the wrong domain, and they don't even, let's say, do warm up, or they skip the authentication, which kills deliverability from the start. So you might be reaching out to thousands of people, and then you will question yourself, why is my campaign not performing? That could be the reason why. From the get-go, the right infrastructure is key. I know sometimes companies would have that, the sense of rush where, hey, we need to get more sales now. We need to shoot everything out. But without a proper infrastructure in place, that's just going to backfire for them. It's going to waste more time and more money. Because if your emails go to spam, no one sees them, no matter how good the content is, it's just going to fail.
Yeah. Makes sense. Thanks, Lati. Another question that we have from Tess is, what's your advice for companies with smaller teams or limited budgets wanting to use AI for lead gen?
So for smaller teams with limited budgets, I would say you should start simple, right? If we look at outreach in a sense of like, let's say cold email is actually one of the most affordable and effective ways to generate leads. And AI can actually help scale it more smartly, I would say, because if you use AI to research prospect, personalized outreach, and automate follow-ups, you can focus more on quality over quantity when it comes to your leads, and you can actually build a solid setup that can protect deliverability. And for small business, I would say you don't need a big budget, just a clear strategy and the right tools to start getting qualified leads using tools like cold email.
Yeah, and I will just repeat once again that if you want to know more about these AI tools that you can use for smarter outreach, please do connect with Lati and you will receive this list. Thank you so much, Lati. Also, Ves is asking, I'm wondering how you measure success in a lead gen funnel that uses AI.
Okay, so success in an AI-powered lead gen funnel, I would say, is measured by key metrics. And these metrics could be anything from reply rate, also conversion rates, lead quality, and the pipeline growth that you're planning to build. It's not, I would add also that, for everyone to have this sort of like clarity when it comes to cold email, it's not just about volume, but it's also about how many leads turn into real opportunities. Sometimes you might have a campaign that you see, oh, I have a higher open rate, but the engagement and conversion is not there at all. So these are also some of the things that you have to take into account. You have a higher open rate, okay, that's good. That means your deliverability is on point. But what about your reply rates? What about your conversion rate? These are also the things that would really, really matter for your business.
Yeah, and I think that we also covered that today when you were just exactly mentioning how important conversion rates are as well. And I love the next question, I should say. I think I come from the marketing background and Lati comes from the lead gen background, we can talk about this for a long time. Maybe we'll consider this topic for future webinar series as well. It's from Julia. How can AI help sales and marketing teams work better together?
Yeah. So I think I recently I spoke about how you can use AI also with team members, like different departments. I would say AI helps sales and marketing work better together by aligning data, improving lead scoring, and a streamlined messaging. But it also ensures that both teams target the right people. And the most crucial is to share real-time insights. Okay, with having real-time insights, you can stay on the same page, leading to even much better performing effective campaign when two departments are working together. Take, for instance, let's say you have your LinkedIn channel as a pipeline for leads, right? And then you posted an interesting post, this for marketing, and then someone comments they're interested. If we had AI as an automation in place to engage with those leads before it goes to sales team, that's already sharing real-time insights where AI will automatically pick up such responses, qualify this lead, and actually send it over to the sales team. That's also one of the successful collaboration that there is when you use AI to collaborate with sales and marketing.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. We have another question as well. Lati, do you find cold calling to still be an acceptable and effective approach in lead generation? I'm curious if you've personally used this strategy, and if so, how have your prospects generally responded?
Great. So there has been a saying where cold calling is dead, but I wouldn't necessarily say cold calling is dead. But there's an effective strategy way you can use cold calling. And the best way to utilize cold calling is to make it warm calling instead of cold calling. You don't want to be making 100 calls a day and maybe only scheduling maybe one appointment, for instance, if scheduling appointment is your call to action. What would better work is first, if it were me, this is what I would do. First of all, I would send valuable emails to the people that I'm planning to call. And those emails are not going to be me asking them to book a call or, like hop on a call. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them value that relates to them, right? So if, let's say I'm targeting marketing experts, what would be some value that marketing experts would appreciate? Let's say maybe running Google Ads. I'm going to give them tips on how they can be successful with running Google Ads. And I'm going to send them maybe a resource or a document that they can utilize. So once you have that engagement where they say, yes, please send me the document, I would really love to see how I can improve Google Ads. Once you have successfully reached that step, then it's you to go ahead and give them a call. So the call is going to be warm, where you're just going to be telling them, hey, I shared these valuable resources with you. What do you think? would you be open to a quick discussion so that I can walk you through how we can help you? So that's one of already like successful call that you've made right there. From cold, you made it warm with just a simple step from sending emails, and then you made that call.
Yeah, you're just giving a value. Can it also differ like in different industries? Because maybe for some industries, cold calling is still a big thing, but maybe for some industries, it's not really working anymore. Does it depend also in which industry the prospect is working?
Yeah, exactly. It depends with the industry as well. Like again, you know your ICP best, right? If you're targeting, let's say someone in the health sector, maybe a doctor, right? A doctor, if you try to cold call a doctor, it's probably a waste of time because remember there's a gatekeeper to the doctor, right? And we also have to try to put yourself in their place. If you were a doctor, are you going to be receiving those cold calls or are you going to have someone who's a gatekeeper to receive those cold calls? So at the end of the day, you'll be doing a lot of work in making calls, but they won't reach the decision maker because your ICP has a different process of doing such things. So you have to put in mind also what ICP are you targeting?
Yeah, that's why I mentioned several times today that I think lead gen is very interesting, but quite complex because there's so many things to consider before you start drafting email and before it ends in the right inbox. Another question that we have is sending WhatsApp messages to unknown prospects. Will this make any type of impact? I've also, by the way, seen many WhatsApp messages that end up in my WhatsApp, but I am not so sure if it's successful or efficient. So I'm really curious as well. What's your intake?
Exactly. So I think you've already answered the question, right? So sending WhatsApp messages to unknown prospects will this is very crucial because one of the things is if these prospects report you or keep blocking you, your number will be reported and it's not gonna work anymore. You'll definitely get blocked if you do that. So I would say the best way to utilize WhatsApp is to have um, an opt-in first, right? So let's say maybe you're running cold emails or whatever you're doing to generate leads, and you have an opt-in section where people can actually provide their WhatsApp mobile, right? So once they have expressed that interest, it's more safer for you to actually send this WhatsApp to these prospects because they've initially engaged with your content. But if you're just sending that to a stranger, it's very likely that you will get blocked and you won't be doing this for a long time. And even the tools themselves, if you use any WhatsApp tools, they're always going to ask you if these people have opted in for your number. Because if they haven't and they keep reporting you, you're just going to get blocked.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Also answers to our question. So I'm just gonna give several more seconds to see if we're gonna have any more question to answer. And meanwhile, I'm just gonna remind you once again that as you know, Lati has mentioned several AI tools during our presentation today. And she's willing to give you the list of these AI tools that will help you to do the smarter outreach. She also, I think, Lati, you shared your LinkedIn profile link as well in the chat below. So please feel free to connect with Lati on LinkedIn, and she will be glad to send you this AI tool list. All right. I think we are coming up to the final part of today. Thanks everyone for very interesting questions and discussion, and mostly huge thanks to Lati for sharing such clear, practical advices today. I'm sure a lot of you found the ideas about using the AI to improve outreach really useful, especially how it's not about replacing people, but working smarter together, because this is also a very big kind of conversation today. Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder that if you want to chat more about how humans in the loop can support your team, whether that's through high quality data annotation, or you just would like to continue the conversation around the AI powered lead gen, please feel free to reach out anytime. We like to be connected with our community. I think we also mentioned already that Lati can send you the AI tools as well. Lati, want to leave us with some closing thoughts?
Yeah, sure. So I just wanted to thank everyone for your time and for attending the webinar. And yeah, to add value and to help everyone, just reach out to me via LinkedIn and I'll send over the list of the tools that I shared. And yeah, I think that would be all. And thank you so much, everyone.
Perfect. Thanks again to everyone who joined us today. I'm just going to mention again that we will be sharing the webinar link via our social media channels and via our newsletters. So those who couldn't make it today will still have the opportunity to listen and have a look at our webinar. Thanks again. We hope to see you back for the next Humans in the Loop webinar. Before that, take care and have a great day ahead of you. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Thank you.